Are you upset the Pistons didn't go for a big swing like Cam Johnson this offseason?
I understand frustrations amongst Piston Nation about that. And when I saw what they did with Joe Harris and Monty Morris, I'm not necessarily mad about it. But at the same time, I hope that Cam Johnson doesn't turn out to be a perfect complementary player on the Brooklyn Nets. I hope that it's not something that the Pistons regret. Honestly, because they gave him 4 years, $108 million. I think in order to guarantee that you were able to get him, the Pistons probably would have had to pay him $30 million a year, and that is a reach even for me. But at the same time, Cam Johnson, in one player, he would have filled a need. 16 points a game, 40% from three, while playing very, very good wing defense. That is exactly what the Detroit Pistons needed. But here's one thing about Cam Johnson, which is a rightful concern, I would say. Last season, he only played 42 games. His career high in games played is 66. So maybe there was something that was a little bit of a concern with Cam Johnson, because if anybody was going to convince Troy Weaver to maybe overpay for Cam Johnson, it might have been somebody like Monty Williams, who coached Cam Johnson for his entire career until he went to Brooklyn and saw Cam Johnson develop over the years into a guy who was averaging about 14 a game on 46% from three during his time with Phoenix last year until he got traded to Brooklyn. So it is something that I have a little bit of apprehension about, but I hope it works out. I'm not going to kill Troy Weaver for not going after Cam Johnson, because Cam Johnson is not worth losing your shit over.
No, and some of these comments too, I'm going to get to. Tyler chimes in, really $27 million per year for a 15-4 and 40% three-point shooter. And again, I'm glad you brought up the health factor with Cam Johnson. Not saying he's the most injury-prone player in the league, but that's part of it. And the fact you have Monty Williams, who has a close relationship with Cam Johnson, you don't think he factored in his opinion of this?
Sure.
Guys, people are so naive, and they think Troy just sat there and said, you know what, Cam Johnson, nah, I'm okay. There's a why to this, whether it's he can't stay healthy, he's not the right player for us to throw $30 million annually at and maybe get into a bidding war with the Nets over. It's not ideal. Would I rather keep my cap flexible and make sure we get the right guys, the right fit players? I get power forward was a position in need. I get Cam Johnson was probably the most enticing player in free agency because of his relationship with Monty Williams. I understand that. But it doesn't mean there isn't a why to this. The health thing I'm glad you brought up, because I think that's part of it. But the other part of it, and people say, well, you essentially helped the Nets get Cam Johnson. Yeah, you did. Because Troy capitalized off that, knowing the Nets had to free up cap space to get Cam. If Troy said, hey, I don't want Cam Johnson for $30 million per, why not take what the Nets are giving away for free for them to open up cap space? That's savvy.